but we will not have translation. I'll try to speak slower. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for each person in here. You love them. You have created them. God, I'm sure some days are not easy, and some days are. But Lord, help them to press on for you and be a light in this world. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. First of all, Wu Shen or Shen Wu, I don't know exactly which way. I think Wu Shen. We want to say thank you. You are important to us and our church. So look at one another and say, you're important. Yeah, and because we have a lot of children, right? And they need Jesus' love. And that's what you do. You give them Jesus' love and truth. So you are very important. I just want to share some of our overall purposes. Wu Shen and I talked. One, we want to reach families for Jesus. And families have little children. So if we have a good children's ministry, the children will come and the families will come. Number two, when the families come, we do want to build them up. 我们要鼓励他们。加油，加油. You know, life is difficult. Yeah. But we want to help you. Number three, share the love of Jesus. And this is what you do on Sunday by loving the children, by teaching the children, by helping the children set boundaries. And again, I always like to put it at the front and at the end, loving again. Okay, because love is very important. So these are sort of our purposes. And many of you welcome new families. Thank you so much. Thank you. Am I qualified to be a teacher? Because I know sometimes some of you think that. Two main qualifications. You love and follow Jesus. Okay, that is super important. If you love Jesus, then he will fill you and you will love others, which is number two. So if you have those two, you're good to go. Okay. Some extras is secondary, and so these are secondary, but a desire to connect, communicate. So we connect in different ways, like, hey, we do that to a kid. Or we talk. Sometimes we use Chinese, sometimes we use English, but we have a desire to connect with them. Okay. Number two, you know, you have to be okay with setting boundaries. Johnny, please sit down. You know, some of us, Johnny. You got to be okay with saying to Johnny or Julie, you know, please stop. Number five, qualification, not being perfect. You don't have to be perfect to be a teacher. Okay? Each day you have to say, I don't have to be perfect. Things won't be perfect. Whoops, sorry. Also, I want to add this. It's not about you. Because a lot of times we go home and we think, oh, I did this wrong, or I didn't say this, or they were bad. And then we look at ourselves. But don't look at yourself. Look at Jesus. And come back next week. Please come back next week to teach. You don't have to be perfect. Okay? We do need preparing. one of the qualifications, you got to prepare a little bit. Okay? This is important. And last of all, being flexible. Okay? In our church, I think this is probably one of the most important characteristics. I think any church. You know, things won't go according to time. Sometimes you get sick and you have to ask for help. There's just so many things we need to be flexible about. So I want to say, please love Jesus, please love others, please come and share the love of Jesus. Please try to come on Sunday about 10 minutes early. That will help, okay? Teamwork. If someone needs help, please try to help them. I'm going to use an example of teamwork for welcoming and worship, okay? So, on Sunday, the first thing you will do is welcome and greet parents and children, right? Okay? They're going to come on Sunday and they're going to come to that desk and they're going to check in. So we get the opportunity to love on them. Okay? And I'm gonna use Jim. Jim, go ahead and stand up. He's going to be little Johnny. Johnny comes in. Hey, Johnny. Maybe a side hug. How are you? So good to have you here today. Thank you. Please play until we start worship. Have a seat. So it's just a good way to do a physical touch to welcome. Some little kids at home never get a hug. Okay, they will never get a hug at home. But when they come see you, you can give them a hug. How many of you are natural huggers? Okay, good. Yeah. Some of us, this is not natural. So guess what? That's why we call today training. So go ahead and tell your neighbor, give them a fist bump. Hello. Welcome. And I see all the beautiful smiles too. I didn't write that up here, but you guys have beautiful smiles. Next thing is please give instructions and reminders. People do not remember. And number two, some people are new. It's their first time. So you have to give instructions and reminders. Please come and sign in. This is for your child's safety. Please pick up your child. You're reminding them at 11:30, or if it's the second hour, before lunch. Okay, you're reminding them of special events. Okay, so let's say Jim comes, or Jim's mom is Winnie. Winnie, next week, will have a teacher's training. Please try to come. It's just a reminder, is one way we can welcome people. Also, encourage them to invite friends. C, recruiting. What do we mean by this? I'm going to give an example. Like, Eva, I know your kids are grown and they're older, but you have such a great way with children. I would love for you to come and join us as a teacher. Okay? So, guess what? Each of you get a chance to ask people to help you with the children. Okay? And the more people we have, the easier it is. So like Bonnie, I know your Esther is growing, but you do such a good job. we would love for you to stay and help us. Maybe, once a month or twice a month in a year. See how I'm sort of recruiting? Now, she can say no, that's okay. But I want to welcome her. Last of all, if you see a newcomer, like remember last week, there were a lot of newcomers, right? Why? Yeah, Easter and the Easter egg hunt, which is good. But, sometimes it's scary, like, who are they? What was it thou? I just don't know, but please go and welcome. Introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Kirt. I think this is important. Some parents don't want to just drop their children off. They want to stay. And we have to let them know it's okay if you stay and watch. That makes them feel safe. Okay? And, they're going to stay maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then they'll start to feel okay. So please remember when you welcome them, ask them to stay if they want to. Some dads are like, no, here you go. Please give newcomers instructions. They don't know. Yeah, we usually check in, and then the child goes to this area, gets ready for worship, and then we have class, and we then we end with snacks. This is just a good way to instruct newcomers. That makes them feel shufu. I don't know if I said that right, but they feel comfortable. They feel safe, and we want them to feel safe. Tell them where the bathroom is here. We worship upstairs. This is all for newcomers. And, our timing, 11:30, 12:30, lunch, things like that. Worship. So we go back. One, teamwork is for welcoming, and teamwork for worship. So right now, Pastor Kurt's going to give you a little bit of extra work. Okay. Worship starts, and many are, hey, Wushen, how's the family? Where are you traveling? I like your hair, your shoes, all that. But Kyle is over here. Oh, hey. Oh, little Johnny. Oh, Bobby. Billy, stop fighting, But hey, you have nice shoes. And so what we want to do is we want to do teamwork, and we want to come and help Kyle. We want to come and help Nancy as they lead worship. And so one way to do that is just coming in and joining the children in worship. Okay? And if little Chris, or I forget the other little guy's name, or Chris, let's try to worship. That way they know. This is important. So this is teamwork. We need everyone trying to help a little bit with worship. Like I remember when I went, Betty was helping with worship, and that helped many of the children continue to worship. These are just general, like when you do your teaching, these are things that will help. Okay? When you do your teaching, these are things that will help. One, we will talk about this later, but reviewing the rules or the boundaries with the children, sometimes you need to do that. Okay? This helps. Number 2, fun activities help. Little boys can only sit there and listen for about 1 second. Okay. Maybe longer. But fun activities help little boys. It helps little girls. Participation. That means like, hey, Carl, can you go to the board and write Moses? Moshi? Can you? And so he's participating. He's in the actions. Any type of games. So kids just love fun activities. And I want you to be creative. Okay? Now, I know if you're like me, you're not maybe so creative. I'm not so creative. But some of you are very creative. So when you prepare, I want to wear a hat, and I want to make a mask, and I want to try to look like a tiger. Yeah. Have fun and make it fun. Number 2, to help you in your classroom, you can ask them to raise their hand. Okay? Does anyone know who parted the Red Sea? Raise your hand. They say Moses. But a better way to do it is to actually call on names and make sure every person participates. Okay? Because some, they're very smart. They are in church. They know the answer. And so you get the same person. And then you're saying the same. So you got to say like, hey, Wu Shen, do you know the answer? Okay, if you don't know, that's okay. Betty, what do you think? Okay, and we go down the line. And what you want to do is you just want to do a circle, right? So if they're in a circle or a line, you just go around. Okay, we'll ask first, second, third, fourth. So if you don't know their names, you're going to have to ask. So that's just a good way to get everyone to participate. You can do small groups or pairs. So let's say you want them to work on an activity. Betty and Mushen, can you get together and work together on this activity? That's just another helpful technique. Some of you know this like get quiet activity. I learned this from you guys. Like you'll do a clap and then they go. So another one they have is like drink a can of pop. Hey everyone. Go, 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 go. And everybody's quiet by the end. Okay? So this is just a get quiet activity. We need to have it quiet. So you either do the clap or you do like a pop one. And you can just stretch it out. They'll get quieter and quieter. Another technique is just to take a break. Okay? Like some of you, you're like, oh, I'm here for an hour. I'm dying. I'm dying. I need a break. Well, probably the kids need a break too. Hey, let's line up at the door. Everybody line up. Let's go get a drink. So everybody goes, gets a drink. About 5 minutes. Come back. Finish. Okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. Another one now we have at the end, I think we've incorporated snack time. But if you want to have a special snack in class, that's okay too. Kids are hungry all the time. So don't worry. Okay? But yeah, don't make it a full meal, just a small snack. I just want to open it real quick. You guys are teachers. Any other suggestions to help with classroom and our teaching portion? Any techniques you've seen that works well?
So typically on a month when I teach, I like to have them participate and answer questions, and I give them credit. So
okay.
The person got the top 3 got the most credit, have big gifts like big bar of candy, but the rest of them will have participate gifts at the end of the month, and which work is kids will basically discipline themselves and follow what I was talking,
yeah.
And I think that worked for me. I'm not sure for every teacher like to do it, but it always worked for me.
Yeah, that's a really good way to say it. Some things work for some people, some things don't work for others. But that's a good knowledge, a reward system where the kids can achieve rewards. And some of us feel different about that, but yeah, good technique. Anyone else?
Something that I've noticed just like in my 30 minutes of worship time with the kids is that they love to talk, and if you give them a small window to talk, then they'll be quieter throughout the worship period. Like, so I'll ask them what was something great that they did this past week or something. So they have an opportunity to share, and I listen to them, and they're actually excited that somebody is actually listening to what they have to say. And you know, we wrap that up in like 5-6 minutes or something, and they feel a lot better, they're quieter. So just having them give a small amount of input or just have the floor to say a few sentences really helped out.
So that's great. Participation, expressing how their week went. We maybe could combine this with a break time, snack time, so it's just another good tool to add there. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
You started with the prayer and ended with prayer, and when before the prayer, and you ask if they have anything, you know, the instructor can help to pray.
Okay.
And sometimes they may ask one of the students to pray too.
Yeah. Good. Prayer incorporated, and there's different ways you can pray. Good, good. Okay, we're going to move on, but we want to have just like a list that people can use in their classroom. We do have a first and second hour. Thank you so much for spending so much time with the kids. We're trying to keep the first hour to an hour and 20 minutes. Okay, we're trying. Please be patient with us. Wushen has implemented a snack time at the end of the first hour, and we want to use that sort of like a free time. Okay, so the kids are eating snack, but they're also a bit of a free time before they go to their second hour, which right now I believe they have a playtime in the gym or outside. They do crafts, and right now they learn Chinese. Wushen and I talked about some other things we might add or, you know, like change is possible videos, possible games, possible dance and sing. Some of you guys do that well. And so you can think about helping and adding those things. The last part, I want to make sure everyone knows we're trying to establish a habit of putting a divider in the gym so they can play in the gym when it's raining or it's cold outside. This is new, and we have lunch and so many tables and chairs. So we have to communicate and try to train all of LCCC that we're putting up these dividers. And it will probably be more difficult because when the weather gets nice, we'll just start heading outside. But right now we're trying to do a divider so the kids have a place to play. I'm going to try to keep going here, though there may be questions on this. I'd like to talk about boundaries and discipline. And this will be sort of some of our main section today. Let's see. First of all, how we want to set the discipline, I like to call it boundaries because the boundaries protect. It's like a fence. Please don't cross the fence because there's danger over here. Things aren't going to go well, so a boundary helps protect the children. These are the boundaries or the discipline we're thinking. Number one, a first warning. And we'll talk about this later. Second warning. Then we move into a first timeout and maybe a second timeout. And then we need to inform the parents. We're going to try to role play these later. Okay, we're going to role play these later. Some of you are very, very strict Chinese teachers. Okay? You're very, very strict. Others of you, you're not strict at all. No boundaries, who cares? Like, go, hey, do whatever you want. So what we want to do is we want to come to the middle. right? We want to have boundaries, but we also want to have a bit of freedom. And so both are feeling good. The kids like it. Yeah. So one, the boundaries need to be clear. The kids cannot be confused about this. You have to communicate. Number two, and this is what they say for all of it, you have to be, help me spell this, consistent. Consistent. Okay? So you just can't choose one day to set boundaries and the next day not to set boundaries. You have to make sure you're consistent. You have to make these boundaries non-emotional. Okay. Oh, little Johnny doesn't like me. Oh, he doesn't like me. Who cares? You just need to love and care and set boundaries. And guess what? When you do this, they'll actually love you more. It works. It works. And then I guess I want to make sure communication is important. So I guess I'm going to bring my wife up because she's a little bit smaller than me. Okay. So when we communicate boundaries, this is how you do it. Okay? Maylon, look me in the eyes. Maylon. Look me in the eyes. Okay. You can't hit little Susie. No, look me in the eyes. If you do that, I'm going to have to move you to time out. And then you won't be able to join us, and I want you to join us. Okay, please have a seat. So you can't just say kind of like, Stacy, stop it. She may be listening, she may not. You have to get her attention, right? And you can use this with your kids at home. And that little pause, that only took about 10, 15 seconds, but it will be worth the communication. And then I just want to make sure this is clear. We always want to put like a sandwich has a bread and then middle and bread. We always want to do a love, boundary, love. Okay? So there's a sandwich of these that we try to care and love. Then we set the boundary, and then after it's over, we try to love them again. Okay. I just had a little boy, kind of did something, and, I think I missed the first part. I just set the boundary real quick. And then you could see he was real sad. And so then I went over and said, some things, and at the end I said, I love you. That was a little hard for me. But I tried to show them, I love you, but we have the boundary, and then we love you. And so this is just, again, we're training, we're practicing, so we'll keep doing this. Why do we set boundaries or discipline? To create an environment or a classroom where all, right, can succeed and learn and grow. So I've heard the little girls in our church, like, those boys, they're wild. They don't listen. And they're right. They're right. And part of that, in a way, is okay. Boys are wild. That's okay. But too wild, now all people can't succeed. The little girl's like, I don't want to go. He's too crazy. So that's why we have boundaries in that. So we can create environments that's safe. People can succeed and learn and grow. I forgot to write safe up here. So how do we set boundaries and discipline? One, we need to explain it. Okay, so you're going to have to tell your children this, and we'll try to work on this. to have a list and just let the parents and the children know that we're going to give a first warning, second warning, timeout, and then we're going to talk to the parents. This has to be communicated clearly, okay, with love. Second, you need to explain the rules of your class. If the kids don't know, if they're not clear, they can't follow the rules. So here are just some examples of rules. And I'm sorry, I know this sounds a lot like rules, and it is, but I want you to fully participate. And we need to let people know, like, if I ask you to read, I want you to read. If I ask you a question, I want you to answer the question. And we can lovingly say, I'll help you. Another classroom goal or rule would be, I don't want you to laugh and make fun of the teachers and others. Okay, we need to communicate that and tell them. We call this kindness and respect when you don't make fun of others. Okay? So, we have to be a little careful because some people do like to have a little fun in that, but we have to help them see too much. Another classroom rule. I don't want you to make fun of the teacher and their words. The reason this is special for our church is because many of us speak 2 to 3 languages. We don't necessarily speak English well or Chinese well, so we have to make sure that they know I don't want you making fun of people's words or language, okay? Because speaking 2 or 3 languages is a good thing. We want them to know that. And we get to practice here when we're young. Okay. Number 4, I only want you to be talking when I call on your name or ask you to talk in groups. Don't talk when others are talking. Try not to interrupt. Okay? So again, this might be a difficult one, I think culturally, but the best way to have instruction is when people are giving and listening and talking. We'll try to get this to everyone. I want you to try to sit in your seat in your area and not move around a lot. Okay, so you know some kids, right? They're like, they're sitting there on the ground, like this. Then they want to start touching people. So stay in your area because then he can't focus. He can't learn. And so we want to say that keep your hands and your feet and body to yourself. We know that little kids, and again, we don't want to get too strict because people like to be affectionate. They like to hug. They like to touch. This is good. But to learn, during that hour, we want to say, keep your hands to yourself. And we can always say, during your free time, you can hug people. During your free time, you can, high five. If you need to go to the bathroom, please ask, teacher, can I go to the bathroom? But if I see you are just trying to get out of class by going to the bathroom, I will give you a warning. Some of those boys, can I go to the bathroom? 5 minutes late, can I go to the bathroom? Now, if you get old, I understand, yeah. But young, they can kind of hold it. Okay, so yeah, you got to be wise in that. If you are feeling sick or tired, please tell the teacher. That's just another way to help your classroom. Just let me know if you don't feel well. You can rest. But some kids, they're just like laying on the table. Well, are you tired? Are you sick? If you're not sick, please sit up. Please pay attention. I want you, and this is the last one, this is one I use. I want you to know the difference between serious time and fun time. So it just helps kids, like teaching or classroom time is serious time. Worship is serious time. But then snack time can be fun time. Playground is fun time. crafts, you know. So just help them to know the difference between fun time and serious time. Okay. So these are just classroom rules that help us. Now to the discipline. Remember we had this, the four? So we're going to go through examples of the 4. The first warning would be like this. Johnny, I really want you to stay with us in the classroom and enjoy the activities. So that's love. I want you to learn, but if you can't, we will have to give you another warning and then remove you from the class in a timeout and place you in timeout. And then finally tell your parents. We're making it clear what our boundaries are to them. Okay? I really hope you can listen and obey. I want you to be with us in the class. The love again. Okay? And of course, some kids, it's real easy. They're so, gentle heart, and others are like, whatever. I get that, teacher, I'm smarter. Okay, so that's first warning. And I'm going to have you guys role play, so get ready after this. So second warning, Johnny, we have already, 我已经告诉你 I gave you a warning already. You need to obey, listen, stop hitting Johnny, whatever it is. Or we'll have to separate you from the class and place you in timeout. And then we'll have to tell the parents if you can't listen and obey. We love you and want you to stay with us here and learn. And, we can even add, remember, in about 40 minutes, we'll get to go play. We'll get to go have fun. Okay? So, just the first warning, second warning, I want you to practice, okay? So kind of try to get a neighbor and just try to practice those words, okay? So find a neighbor, don't be 3
Keep your hands on yourself and listen and obey, respect each other. Make fun. We love you. But it's okay. We still love you. 我希望你能够学习。然后他说的就是基本上一般你给老师查老师就是比较刺猬这样的学习，而且说我爱你，在家也这样，在家里小孩子就跟我小孩讲说，我爱你，无论你好或不好，我都爱你。只是你表现的好，我很高兴；可是你表现不好，我还是爱你。因为好多孩子在面受了错，我自杀，他不敢回家去还是要有一个例子，一个故事还蛮有趣的，说有个孩子还有机会，他好辛苦，一关接一关，一关接一关，那么多人怎么拿到为什么可以得到250？
Okay, I'm sorry. We'll have to move on. Thank you so much. And I even saw some people, like taking them and saying, look into my eyes, making sure they were paying attention. So the first warning, second warning, and then the timeout. Okay, so this can be difficult. And Wushen, can you stand up and share maybe where we'll have the timeout chair? Maybe, we're not confident yet.
Yeah, not decide, fully decide yet, but I think we have the two wide, like two wide, what is it? Yeah, and then beside the window, we have a empty place. Probably we can set up some chairs there, small chairs and kids there. When they do, when we do time out for those kids, we can ask the kids just sit there and then be quiet. And if they're obey and listen, and we welcome them back to worship or class. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll try to make that more clear. And we also want to have someone in the main lobby where you check in, and that will be the person that helps that child in timeout. Usually only be about 2 to 5 minutes, real short. We don't want to confuse, this is difficult. We don't want to confuse timeout with like prayer. We don't want to confuse timeout with necessarily fully Jesus. Because they've done something bad and now they think prayer is bad. Or they've done something bad and now they think Jesus is bad. We want it to be more of a time where, okay, this is time to think, reflect, say sorry in your heart, and then reunite. Okay? If they want to pray, that's good. If they want to talk to Jesus, that's good. But we have to be a little careful, say like, you've been bad, go see Jesus. What will he do? Like, so you understand that's a little difficult. Like Jesus does want to help us, but we have to know that he wants to love us back. Okay, so we'll be a little careful on that. So this is just some examples. If the child still persists in disobedient behavior, guide the child to the timeout chair, which is in the lobby. Johnny, you need to follow me because you need to go to timeout. And I'm sorry, your name's Johnny, but right? A little bit. And so we explain, you're going to go to timeout. Okay, you're getting a timeout because you kept talking when I was trying to talk, or you kept hitting, or you were laying on the floor with not. Okay, so why? You're going to be in timeout for 2 to 5 minutes. So let's just say, Betty, can I use you? Sorry. Betty, I gotta put you in timeout. Wu Shen, can you help Betty spend 2 minutes in timeout because she was laying on the floor? Okay. Good go. Okay. Okay, good. Come on back. Yeah. Very, very. So that's kind of how we do it. And somebody in the lobby will help. Okay, yeah, so what like if you're not going to stay in timeout, if you're going to continue to do what laying on the floor, we'll have to give you a second timeout again. And then we're going to have to tell your parents. Okay? Just some more things about this. This is an example. Johnny, do you know why you need a timeout? It's because you weren't listening to me and you kept hitting Bobby. Now, if you sit here quietly for 3 minutes, then you can say sorry to Bobby and rejoin the group. Okay? If not, then you'll need to go to another timeout and we'll need to tell your parents. So that's an example of what to say to them. Okay? The last part, yeah, I'm going to have to go by this. Am I going the wrong way? Yeah, parents. So this is really difficult, right? We need to talk to the parents. But I think it's important to remember that you are just their teacher for 1 to 2 hours. right? It's their mom and dad at home that really has to care for them, love them, and guide and direct them. And so communicating with the parents in love and explaining the boundaries and love again will help the parents, okay? We don't want to shame. We don't want to make them feel bad, but what we're asking for is help. We need help in the parent. And so one thing we can actually do is have the parent come and sit in the classroom. Okay? Now, I'm going to say something that probably you won't like. But there may be a time where we need to tell a parent that I'm sorry, we cannot have your child in the classroom. They will not listen. They are rolling on the floor. They are shouting, screaming. None of the other 12 kids can learn. We're going to need to figure this out. And I know that is very difficult, but what happens is the other 12 children don't want to come. And so, yeah, it breaks my heart. We might lose one, or we might lose all 12 because they don't want to come because one child, the parent, has not set correct boundaries. Okay, so this is very difficult. I hope that doesn't happen. I need to finish here because the time is up. We have to be careful of the physical parts. Physical spanking, hitting, or abuse is not permitted. Means don't do it. Don't do it. But sometimes we do need to be physically firming, leading the child. Okay? So that's helping the child get to where they need to be. Like little knee, see how I have her hand in that? You need to come with me, okay? Okay? And then I help her get to where she needs to be. Thank you. But if it gets to a point where now they fall down and they're thrashing, you might as well just kind of step back. Okay? It's hard. And so we just don't want to have any physical harm come to a child. Again, you only get 1 hour, 2 hours with them, so the parent needs to take care of this. We're basically helping them to protect the child from physically harming himself or herself. We don't want the child to harm themselves, and we need to inform the parents. So we're going to role play these two parts. One is timeout, and the second is talking to the parents. So please role play putting Johnny in a timeout, and then talking with a parent. Okay? So go ahead and role play the timeout.
我是那种要太坏我就不管，你自己太坏我就不管。你就几分钟吧，其他的小朋友，你就能和其他小朋友聊，这孩子讲不出来，孩子们闹他们了。还喜欢跟你讲，越来揪起来，还有什么？没完没了。你去弄他，你自己去躺了，对不对？这边我看，我是我没有那个脑子，我不能让你摆回去，然后再说白了，那小孩就调皮也没有什么。 我觉得这个调频要让他们但是我也不会觉得在我们家里小孩子太很给我，所以我先一摸它就很好用，因为摸的6、7个孩子嘛，装了1、2个会，其他都不跟了。我今天就没准备这样子，我以前上课都是在网上找一些东西啊，然后那个画画呀，然后带点 sticker， 他们就可开心
Okay,
了。
also try to role play the parent, talking with the parent.
对，那个是很好的。我的奖励，奖励对，谁做的好奖，我就像那个巧克力片我喜欢。我在那巧克力吧，他们把里面巧克力跳出来，哪里说是那些他没有去跟了我们家小朋友，我们选的小朋友今年教哪一年来的？他教他们。哎呦，我都没耐心，我真的。他把你的巧克力就光巧是巧克力，我们家在吃馆就是那个。我要就今天5岁了，还是要还是你让家长们去不是，说妈妈让他选，让他选你要吃的，他就去，把他给升上去。对，然后回来这样讲，妈妈又说是他选的。这样子，家里就变这样。
Okay, we'll finish up here. Sorry, I'm 5 minutes over. We just want to make you aware that we're doing a teacher appreciation on 4/21. That's a little bit earlier. Mei-Lan and I are going to be traveling to Taiwan, so had to do it a little bit earlier. But we just want to celebrate you and thank you. That's why we have this. We're going to be in here 12:30. Bring your lunch. We'll have special snacks, fruit. Judy Khan is going to make special Chinese treats. And hopefully we can have fun and celebrate. VBS, if you want to mark your calendar, is going to be on Jie Shiwu Hao Dao Sergio Hao. And so what we want to try to do this year is, we'll take that S off, but KIS, keep it simple. We want to keep it simple, okay? So we're going to try to redo things. And I think if we can learn to keep it simple, we'll have a lot more enjoyment instead of a bunch of deep preparation. Just any questions? Q&A. If anyone needs to go, you can go, but I'd love to see if there's any questions or answers or any comments so we can help one another. And I do want to encourage you, if you do, like, give it constructive encouragement type of methods. If anyone needs to go, you can go. Otherwise, if there's any questions.